me some of your favorites. Maybe we have some in common. Hi, yeah, no, I love reading. Some of my favorite books are like the Mortal Instruments series. I really love some good young adult books, but I also really love romance novels. And no, I mean the classics, things that make you grow as a person. No. First of all, you fiend. Reading is more than just classics. Honey, I think you misunderstood me. I said books, not frivolous reads. Oh, excuse me. Would you like me to educate you on what reading is all about? Do those books make you grow, or do they just stunt your growth? Hello everybody, today I'm going to be talking about the very heated subject of reader shaming. I recently did a post on Instagram about reader shaming and why I think it is complete and utter bullcrap. And it got such a great response that I decided to make a video dedicated to it because I could rant about this issue for quite a long time. Thus me making this video because I feel like it should be heard across all platforms that I have myself on. Because a lot of people think that it is normal to shame readers because of their reading choices. And I'm here to tell you that it is not okay and what my dislikes are when it comes to people judging your reading tastes. Because me personally, I have been reader shamed so many times in my life for my likes and dislikes in literature that it's actually gotten to the point where I literally could scream. And I'm not afraid to let my voice be heard. And I feel like a lot of us, especially in the young adult community, have gotten a negative response to books that we like just because they are not qualified as classics or well-read books. Which makes no sense because I believe that literature is universal no matter what kind of literature it is. As long as you're reading and as long as you're getting educated or just having a dang good time reading a book, you don't always have to learn something from a book you're reading. Sometimes you go into a book just to enjoy the book while it lasts, and then you exit it and go back into the real world and feel better about the real world, because people go into books because they want to escape sometimes. So it's fine if you go and gain knowledge from said book, but it's also fine if you just go in there and gain nothing but just a good time. And I feel like it's completely ludicrous that people think that it's okay to judge others because of their tastes in literature. Okay, so let me tell you guys my story of reader shaming that still gets my blood boiling till this day. So here I was on a train on my way to Chicago reading White Hawk Kiss by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I was deeply engrossed in the amazing words of Jennifer L. Armentrout's writing when the conductor of the train comes forward to take our tickets. So I shut the book and looked up at him, handed him my ticket, and that's when he peered his gaze downward onto my novel. He looked at the novel, he looked at me, and that's when he decided to open his mouth. And boy, did he go wrong. And he said, "Does your mama know you're reading a book like that?" And then my response to that was, if my mom was alive today, I think that she would be completely fine with me reading this book. But thank you so much for your concern. And then he was like, "All right then. He looked at a book cover and automatically judged my choice of reading. And let's just say this, don't judge a book by its cover, but also don't judge a book period unless you have read said book and have something to disagree with said novel. But even then, tread carefully. Because even if you may have an opinion, that does not always mean you should say said opinion. So that was one occurrence in my life where I've been reader shamed just by the book I was reading. It's not really up to anybody to judge your reading tastes, no matter if the book cover really says a lot about the story or if it doesn't say anything at all. Another thing I've been reader shamed for was me not reading the Harry Potter series up until I was a freshman in college. When I was growing up, I struggled a lot with my ADD and dyslexia, especially because I went undiagnosed for such a long time. I was not even diagnosed with ADD and dyslexia until I was in middle school. And so when Harry Potter was really popular in my life and everybody else's lives and they were all reading it and devouring it, I couldn't because I could not read properly because I was still reading at a kindergartner's level in the 3rd grade. So I kind of, resisted reading Harry Potter for a while until I knew that I could enjoy the story to the extent that I really wanted to. And that was up until I was 18 years old. But still, as a reader and having not read Harry Potter, I was shamed so often, not just by the online community, but also externally in my daily life, being like, "Come on, you're a reader, you read multiple books a week and you haven't read Harry Potter, what's taking you so long? It's a classic! You're a muggle!" Or a squib. But why judge somebody if you do not know the story behind why they haven't read a book? Why not just ask them, instead of going ahead and just shaming them for not reading it? I don't understand that. It's better to go and express how much you loved a book to the person who hasn't read it, rather than go and drill them on why they haven't. Then there's people who judge you for not reading classics. Me personally, I've only read probably 2 classics in my life, and I learned that they're not my favorite thing to read. So that's why I don't read them. It's just like if you don't read science fiction because you don't like science fiction. You don't have to read something that you don't want to read. Same thing with any other another genre. Classics are just another genre in literature. So if you don't want to read them, you shouldn't have to because they're just not your taste. But just because you don't read classics does not mean anything else that you read disqualifies you from being a well-read reader. I could read the entirety of Jane Austen's books and still be as good of a reader as reading all of Sarah McLean's erotic historical novels. Because you know what? As long as you enjoy the process of reading, that's all that matters. Another thing that gets reader shamed quite often is your reading pace. You could read 20 books a day and still be as good of a reader as somebody who reads 10 pages a day. I've been criticized a lot in the past year for not reading as much as I used to. And there's a really good reason behind that, and I kind of want to make a video dedicated to it because I learned why I haven't been reading as much. And it goes beyond me writing my own book or just moving around a lot. It goes more into my disabilities and how I haven't really been taking care of myself in the past year regarding them. But I've been shamed so often for not reading as much because people think that I am falling out of love for reading. And I can tell you right here and right now, that is not the case. I love reading, obviously. And just because I'm not reading 3 books a week doesn't mean that I love it any less than I did when I was reading 3 books a week. And the last note I would like to leave off on is liking or disliking a book that a majority of people have the opposite opinion of you on. So let's say that there's this book that a lot of people dislike, but then you read it and you loved it. You shouldn't feel shamed or feel suppressed to share your love for that book online or anywhere really. Everybody's opinion will be different, and you shouldn't be shamed for liking a book or disliking a book that a lot of people have the opposite opinion on. You shouldn't be ridiculed in the comments. You shouldn't be shamed in person. Nobody should feel shameful for liking a book or disliking a book. It's your own personal tastes, and that's what matters. Stand up for what you believe in and never feel suppressed, because once you start feeling suppressed, that's when you stop being yourself. And never stop doing that. Yourself is the best thing about you. It is you. So with that, I will say, if anybody ever reader shames you, using any of the examples I gave you today, stand for what you believe is true. Never feel like you are any lesser than them because you have different tastes, or different reading patterns, or different opinions. At the end of the day, you are all that matters. If you like this video and you want to see more of my rant-like videos about certain subjects in literature, please let me know down below. Don't forget to go follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My username's @SashaAlsberg. And my book, ZENITH, is now out in paperback, so if you guys want to go check it out, I'll be linking it down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Excuse me? Oh my god, Fiona. Oh my god. Fiona, you almost tipped over my tripod.